Yeah, good evening, everyone. And yesterday we have started our Python class. So yesterday we had some screen sharing issue because I am not direct host. Dimi is the direct host. Due to that, I can't share entire screen. Okay. So for that, to revise yesterday's thing, whatever the required extent, I have done 2 videos. One is how to install, because yesterday I think most of the people they could not understand, they could not see each and every step of the installation process and path creation. So now I will share you the videos first. First, I'll share you the video of how to install and set the path. Then after that, we'll move to the programming, right? So just a minute. Yeah, everyone able to see this video? Yes? Yes, okay, fine. So now I'm playing that video, how to install and done. Okay.
Only your desktop is visible, sir.
Sorry?
Only your desktop is visible.
Oh, yeah, correct. Now that video, whether audio is coming, sir?
No.
No. So now, okay. So I think now it is share fine, this video with you. So now first let us start with the installation.
Yes, sir.
Now go to the downloads. So hope it is clear how to download the Python file. So now after downloading that, click on open this. Okay, open the exe file. Then this is the setup window. So here install Python 3.8.2, right? So what you have to do here is add Python 3.8 to path. This checkbox you need to check it out. If you don't check this box, and if you proceed installation without now I think it is now box, voice is coming. So after video installation, voice. You have to make path manually. I will show that procedure also, how to make how to set up path manually. So now for as of now, so here in the installation we have the option to automatically set the path for Python. So enable this, and if you want custom installation means, so you can choose these things. I mean options. Herman sir, are you able to see that video? We will go for normal installation.
Yes, sir.
Directly click on installation, and it will do the installation. So see here, it will ask for installation. It is installing. So all interpreter, development libraries, executable codes, standard library. Everything is getting installed. Test suite. Okay. So this is the thing. Don't worry, that screen blurring and sound breaking maybe happen due to your internet speed also. No need to worry about that. I'll share the videos. If you send your email ID, I'll share these 2 videos also along with the PPT. What is going on? Now the people who are getting this blur
So
and
wait for
breaking of voice, I'll share the videos for them.
another
You just
2-3
send your
minutes.
email ID to my WhatsApp number.
So we'll
I'll share.
close it. Once it is installed, we have to check. See here, add to path, right? Okay, setup was successful. Then close that. If you want online tutorial, you can click here, or documentation, you can click here. Okay. Okay. So now after installation, what you're supposed to do is go to command prompt, CMD. Just type in CMD in the search window. Okay. So here you supposed to type Python. Okay. So if you type this, you will get Python version, all these things. If this is coming means Python software is installed in your system and path is also got set in the corresponding path variable. Okay. So that is the thing. But if you don't get this after installation also, if you type Python, if you are not getting this particular, these 2 lines, these 3 lines, if you are not getting after installation of Python also, that means you have installed the software successfully, but your path was not set. Okay. So in that case, what you have to do, I will show you. First, you have to search for where your Python software is being installed in your computer. Okay. So go to this PC. So C drive. So users, if it is Windows 10, this may be the default path. Users, Raju Kannam, that means your username. Here app data is there. Local. The local, we have the programs. See here Python. So Python 3.8 is installed. Okay. Python 3.8 is installed. Now we have installed this one, Python 3.8 32-bit. Right. So you open this folder. Okay. So after opening this folder, so this is your place where your Python, all the Python software, all Python DLLs, libraries, scripts, tools, everything will be saved in this particular folder. So you have to set up path, like means setting up path means, what does it mean? Now if you take this, right, to exit this, you have to give Control Z. Okay. So now here I am going to call Python program from my C drive users folder, Raju Kannam folder. I am going to call the Python, but actual Python software is not there in this particular folder.
Madam, Deepika,
right? So then how we can call that? So if you want to call, you have to go to the corresponding folder. Where is that folder? It is in Raju Kannam, again in local app data, local, all those things. That is what we have seen here, right? This we have to go to this place and we have to work with the Python. But it is every time going to this place and working with Python is difficult. That's the reason we will set the path. Once if we set the path na, so we can work in any folder in our computer. That is the advantage, right? So for that, for setting a path, what you have to do, just copy this particular path and you have to set it in the path variable. Where we'll find the path variable? For finding the path variable, you have to right click on your computer, this PC, go to properties, go to advanced system settings, then environmental variables. So here in environmental variables, we have the system variables, right? So here one variable is there called path, right? Select that and click on edit. Okay. So now here all the paths are there. Here you can see now in my computer I'm having Git repository. So for that path is there. IBM Cloud path is there. .NET path is there. Node.js path is there. Python path is there. Of course, right? So then click on new you paste. Now from here we have copied na this particular path we have copied na. This copy this and paste here. Okay, then give OK. Then give OK. Okay, that is over. Now go to command prompt and type Python. It will be executed not only in this particular folder. You can go to any folder. For example, I'm going to F drive. Here I'm typing Python. It will work. So now after setting the path, you can go to any folder or any drive in your computer, and the Python, we can execute the Python programs. If you don't set the path, the condition is, if you're not setting the path, the condition is you have to go to the Python folder. There only you have to write all your programs. But after if you set the path, you can write your programs anywhere. That is the difference. That's all. Okay. So I hope it is clear na, for everyone. And the people who got blur or breaking voice, I'll share this video. Just send your email ID to my WhatsApp number. Okay. Any doubts? No problem. I'll share the video. The people who are not got, because internet at the same time, your internet also should be good for receiving the video. Okay. So I'll share the video. Don't worry. I'll share the video. Okay. So now this is the so installed but not get path. Okay. So Bona madam. Bona. Yes, madam. Bona, madam. Please tell me, madam. What is the problem?
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam.
सर मैंने ये इंस्टॉल तो किया है, लेकिन जब हम कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट में जाके वेयर पाइथन टाइप कर रहे हैं तो मुझे पाथ नहीं मिल रहा उसका.
So पाइथन टाइप करें तो आपको वर्जन सभी आ रहे हैं?
हाँ सर.
Okay. Okay, madam. So at the end of the session, you please share your screen so that we'll find out. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, madam. Now once the path is set, and we are going to now we are going to execute our first program in the Python, right? So for that, what you have to do is now you have to use the command prompt, or you can use any IDE. So along with the Python, we got one IDLE, that is integrated development environment, which is already installed once the software is installed in your computer. So to access that IDLE and how to access that, how to open that IDLE, how to write your first program, I'll share you another video. I'll share you another video. You just see. Okay. Now in the previous video, we have seen that how to install the Python software and how to set up path manually and automatically, right? And afterwards, we have checked the Python through the command prompt, whether it was installed or not from different folders, right? So now in this video, I will demonstrate how to execute our first program in Python IDLE, that is Python Integrated Development Environment. Fine. Now for that, once the Python software is installed in your computer, that IDLE also, it will come default as a default software along with the Python. So only thing is you have to go to programs. So programs, here you just type IDLE. You can see here IDLE Python 3.8. Okay, just click on that, it will open. So this is your Python 3.8.2 shell. Okay, so where we'll execute our programs. So now I'll write the program here. Print hello, welcome to Python world. Okay. So then if you press enter, the output, whatever we have written, this line, right? So this print function will print whatever we have written in the single quote or double quote. So here we have written hello, welcome to Python world. Okay. Now similarly, I'll do a equal to 10. That means 10 is stored in the variable called a, and if you now try to print the value of a, print a, you will get 10. Okay, so this is the way we can execute the programs. So already yesterday we have discussed this type of execution is called as interactive mode, because once we are typing the instruction, one line of code, immediately that is executing. Okay, again once it is typed, it is executed. Again it is, when it is typed, if you press enter, it is executed. So this is called interactive mode. Okay, so generally this mode in our coming sessions and all, so I will do different programming and all. So in that we won't use this interactive mode, we will use normal mode. Normal mode means we have to write our entire program in a file, whether it may be text editor, any text editor, right, and save it, then we will execute it. So here to write your program, what you have to do is go to file menu. Here for the file menu is there in Python shell. Go to file menu, click on new file. Okay, then here you can write the program. Print hello world. Okay, so then a equal to 10, then print a. Okay, so then save it, click on save. So here I am saving. So now from here after I will save all the programs in one folder. I'll create one folder in my F drive. Or I'll create in E drive. So here I'm creating one folder, Python online sessions. Okay. So here, whatever the programs we are going to practice, all the programs I'll save here only, right? So now here you give the file name. So first, this is the first program. So since I want to maintain the same order, I'll give 01 and the name of first, this is hello world, hello.py. Okay, so save it. Okay, after saving, then go to run menu. Here, click on run module, F5. So see here, hello world 10 is printed. So the difference between, this is called normal mode and this is called interactive mode. The difference between these two is, so here entire program, whatever the file you have given, entire file is, it is whatever the code which is written in that particular file, it is executed at a time and it will give the output. But here the interactive mode, at the end of every instruction, when the moment when you press the enter, that instruction will be executed. Of course, from here after we will use only this normal mode of execution. Okay, so this is the way we can create our program file and we can execute. Okay, I hope it is clear, right? The people who are not getting a clear video, I'll share the video, don't worry. You just send your WhatsApp email ID to my WhatsApp number, right? So now, so this is about till yesterday's class, and now we'll see. Coming to the today's session. Okay. So hope everyone able to see this PPT.
Yes. Okay. Now here in Python, the important thing is white space is significant in Python, where other languages may use this flower bracket and normal brackets. But here in Python, we won't use these flower brackets and the normal brackets regularly, except in some cases we will use generally we will use the spaces. The code blocks can be represented by using the white spaces. So that means see here, of course, we will discuss this entire code in the corresponding loops and functions, but you can able to see here for now this is the for loop. So after for loop, if it is in C, so we'll start with flower bracket, but here we will give 4 spaces. This is called indenting. We will give the 4 spaces, then we'll start typing the statement. So now whatever the statements which are typed after 4 spaces, so those statements will be considered part of that particular loop. And here it is another example, that is function. We are defining the function. This is one function. So after function, we will put colon, and these are the statements which comes under this particular function. So see, all these statements we are giving the equal spaces, that is 4 spaces. Okay, so that's the reason white spaces are significant in Python. So here we won't start any function or any loop or any if statement with flower bracket. So we will start like after that, after writing the corresponding loop or function name, we'll put colon, and all the statements we'll write in that particular loop or block by giving the 4 spaces. Okay, so of course that will you'll understand very easily when we are doing the programming. So here we have different types of comments: single line comments, multi-line comments, right? So single line we can comment. So this is comment. We can comment it with ash. If we put ash before starting the statement, that will be considered as comment. Comment means while executing, Python interpreter won't consider this as a code. This will be a reference statement, what exactly we are doing at that particular block of code. Okay, so let us see the example how these comments can be represented. So I'll share. We'll open our Python shell. Okay, I'll open here one file, one program, comments. So everyone able to see this? Everyone able to see this? Not clear. Screen is not clear. One minute. Now is it clear? Sir, Herman sir, whether screen is clear or not?
If you share the video, screen will not be clear, sir.
No. Video are not shared. Video are closed. Now I am explaining with the program, like this editor.
Editor, it's not clear, that much clear, as it was yesterday.
Okay. So 1 minute. So what is the problem? Whether now? What about now?
Somewhat okay.
Okay. Yesterday clear. Sir, screen is not clear. Okay. Okay, but everyone able to see this screen program? Okay, fine. So here in this we are writing print function. Of course, we will discuss print in the coming session. Next slides, coming slides. So here we are printing something, testing of comments. Okay, so these are, if you put single hash and write any statement, that will be considered as comment, single line comment. We can use single hash or double hash for making particular line as a comment. Comment means, so if you comment it any statement, any line, while executing the program, interpreter won't consider that particular line as a code. It will be considered as a comment. Comment means it is a reference statement for your particular program. So we can comment here with the single hash or double hash, right? And if you want to comment multiple lines, so every line you have to put hash symbol. Or multi-line comments, you can use the single quote 3 times, right? Then you write whatever you want to comment in number of lines. It may be 2, 3, or 4, or 5 lines. Okay, any number of lines. And after completing that, you have to close it with again 3 single quotes, right? So, or instead of single quotes, you can use double quotes also, 3 double quotes. Write your multi-line comment and close it with the 3 double quotes. Okay, so now if we execute this, what the interpreter will consider, only this line will be considered. And this is comment. Since hash is there, it is comment. Double hash is there, it is also a comment. Here 3 single quotes are there. This is also a multi-line comment. This is also a multi-line comment. So out of all these lines, the interpreter will execute only this particular line. So now if you run this program, run, click on run. You will get only the testing of comments. Only the first line is executed and the first line is printing. Remaining all the lines are treated as comments. So these things, since we have kept the hash, double hash, and multi-line symbols, multi-line comment symbols, so interpreter won't consider these statements. So these are only the reference for our understanding purpose. Only this line will be executed. This testing of comments will be printed over the Python shell. Testing of comments will be printed here. Okay. So is it clear? Is it clear now? Okay. Right. Now let us move to the PowerPoint now. So here, these are the single and double line comments. Okay. So next is Python typing. Okay. So what is typing? That means the data types in the Python, right? Python is a strongly and dynamically typed language. So the meaning of this is, of course, here obviously Python is not performing static type checking, but it does prevent mixing operations between the mismatched data types. Okay, so that means, like in C what we will do, now if you open C, like in C I want to declare one, in C or Java or any language, any programming language, assume it is C. If I want to declare one integer variable, I will make it as int a, right? Or one character variable, I'll make it as character C or character X, semicolon. Okay. So then after declaring that, I can give you the value of a. So after declaring the character variable, I can give the value of character. Okay. But in Python, that means in C, whenever you want to store one integer value, you have to declare one variable with integer data type. So similarly, if you want to store any character, so that variable first you have to declare it as character variable. But coming to Python, so it doesn't require static type checking. That means you no need to declare any data type, but still it will check whether when you are mixing two values, it will check whether the two values are similar data type or not. Okay, so all that type of the variable will be checked at the dynamically at runtime. Okay, so of course we will see that. So data types we will see. So data types we'll see. If you see one example, then you will come to know. So now these are the data types supported by the Python: integer, float, complex, boolean, and strings. Of course, some collections are also there. That collections we will discuss afterwards. Okay. So now, okay. Now I'll go to our program. I'll show you an example of data types. Okay, so this is your program. Hope it is clear. Program. Okay. Maybe due to multiple files opening, that may be the problem. So I'll open only one file. That what we are discussing, only that file I will open. Okay, now is it fine? Okay, so here, see here, now this is 10, it is an integer value, right? We are allocating this integer value to a variable called a. Okay, but here we have not declared a as integer, character, or anything, float or anything, right? So here just simply we have taken the value and we have given, right? That means there is no static declaration. There is no static declaration is not required for data types, any variable in the Python. Directly you can assign the value whatever you want. So here now this a will be considered as a integer variable, right? And the 10 will be stored in the a. So here now I'm printing the a. I'm printing the value of a. So whatever the value which is stored in the variable a will be printed out here. Now after that I want to check the data type of a also. What data type it is. Okay. So for that in Python we have one function called type function. So the type function can be used to get the type of your variable. So I will execute only this particular part because this very lengthy program. Okay, now here it is very simple. I'm storing 10 into the a variable, then the value of a we are printing here, then the type of a also we are going to print. So it will print the value of a, that is 10, and it will print, so it is an integer variable. So go to run and click on run module. So of course if you do any changes it will ask for save. Every time you have to save the program. Okay, I have saved. So now the program is executed and you can see here So see here, 10 is printed and the type of variable is class is int. Class is int. Okay. Is it fine? Right. So similarly, let us check another data types. Okay. Let us check another data types. So again, go to the program. Okay. Go to the program. So I'll close. I don't want to open multiple windows. Okay. Now this is our program. Here, this integer part is over, right? And now let us see another variable, like another data type. So binary. How to declare? Of course, this binary is also integer. You can see here. This binary integer number can be represented in binary, octal, hexadecimal, right? Because in different applications we may need to represent the numbers in different number systems. Okay, so that's the reason we are explaining. I'm going to explain binary, octal and hexadecimal also, right? So now, okay, fine. Come to the program. So here, how we can represent the binary number? So any variable, again you take variable, you have to keep 0b. So to represent it as a binary number, what you have to do is, first you have to write 0b. So that indicates whatever the number we are going to write, that is a binary number. Then you write your binary number. So binary number 10. 10 means what is it? What is the decimal equivalent value? It is 2, right? So we are going to print that decimal equivalent of this binary value and type. Of course, the type is obviously this is integer number only. You will get the type as integer. And similarly you can write octal. Octal means again 0. You have to use octal O. So how we can represent the octal number? 0 O, right? So 0 O means whatever the number which we are going to write, that will be treated as octal number, that is 011, right? And that value we are going to print. So what is 011 means? What is the equivalent value in decimal? It is 3, right? So here 10 will be printed, here 2 will be printed, here 3 will be printed. So let us check the output. So the output will be, the expected output would be 10 will be printed, then the type of the variable is integer. So here 2 will be printed, type of the variable is same integer. So here 3 will be printed, type of the variable is again integer. So then click on run. So it will ask for saving, right? So now I'll show you the Python shell. Okay, so 10, this is 2. Okay, 10 it is integer, 2 it is integer. Okay, right. Oh, sorry, it is 9. 011 means it is 9. So convert octal number 11. In octal number system, 11 means it is decimally it is 9. Okay, because octal numbers are from 0 to 7. After 7, 8, 9, again 1 0 1 1, like that it will start. Okay, so that 1 1 corresponds to 9 in the decimal number system. That type also, data type is also integer data type. Okay, that integer data type, right? Right. So then, any doubts? Video is not clear, sir. Okay. Whether it is clear now? I have minimized all the things. Okay. Repeat data type. Okay. Right. So here, data type. So now in Python, we no need to declare the data type, what data type the particular variable is. So like in C, Java, and in other languages, before going to use the variable, first we have to declare the data type like this. So in C, so we have to declare A as integer, then only we can store 10 in A. If you directly write A equal to 10, it will give the error. Compiler will throw an error. That indicates you have not declared the type of the variable. Okay. So similarly, if you want to store any character in X, first you declare the X variable as character, right? So, but in Python, we no need to declare like this. No need to declare any data type, any variable. So directly you can use your variable, store your number into that particular variable. Okay. So then if you give print A, so A value will be printed. And in Python, type function is there. Since we have not declared this variable as any data type now. So now I want to check what data type it has taken. Okay. So for that, to know that type function is there, type, you give the variable name, it will return the type of the variable. Okay. So these things I will comment it. Okay. So now if you execute, if you run now, so you can see here 10 will be printed. A value is printed, then A data type is integer. Right? Fine. Okay. So right. So now next we'll go to the next data type. Okay, I'll skip these things. This binary, these things I'll discuss afterwards. Okay. Right. So here now I'm taking one more variable called pi, so equal to 3.14. Okay. So now here this is the floating point number, but I'm not declaring pi variable as floating point data type. Okay. So then it will print pi, that means it will print 3.14. Automatically it will consider pi as floating type and it will show 3.14. Then if you give print pi, it will print 3.14. Then again I'm testing the type of pi variable. So now this time it is float. Okay. So now here see this and this code will be executed. First 10 will be printed, then it will be printed as integer, then 3.14 will be printed, it will be printed as type class float. Okay. So now again you execute it. Before executing, store it, save it. Now you can see here. So 10 will be printed and the class is int. 3.14 is printed and the class is float. Okay. Is it fine? Okay, I'll share the code also, no problem. So no need to declare any data type. Directly you can take variable and assign the value, whatever the value you want to assign, integer or float or string. Okay. So now go here. So similarly, next is, of course, this is another way of declaring the float by 0.314 into 10 to the power of exponent 1. That means 10 to the power of 1. Of course, this is same as this one. Okay. So 0.314 into 10 to the power of 1 we are giving, and if you execute, again same answer will get. You will get 3.14 and it is float. So again, if you want, you can execute this. You can see here 10 will be printed class int, 3.14 will be printed class float, again 3.14 is printed class float. Okay, right? So this is executed, this is executed, and this is executed. Remaining all commented. That means interpreter won't execute these things. Wherever we have kept comment, the compiler won't consider those statements, right? So now this is integer, and this is the way to work with float. Tell me, sir, Kiran sir. Because any fractional part is there, that will be considered as float, na? Chetan sir, why 3.14 is called a float? Because any fractional part is there, that will be considered as float. In the integers, we can't get the fractional part. Kiran sir, please tell me, sir, your doubt. Shall I unmute it, Kiran? Kiran sir, tell me, sir. You can ask your doubt. Sir, whether Victor student class start. Okay. Because if you have any programming background, you can start. If you are wish to learn programming and all, you can attend the class. No issue. Okay. Okay, fine. So now next is integer is over, float is over, and the next data type is complex data type. So we know complex data type means we'll have the real part as well as real part and imaginary part. Okay. So I'm declaring any variable name, any name you can use. The real part plus imaginary part. 3 plus 5j here. Okay. So then print com, and the type of variable is complex, right? So now I'll do one thing. I'll comment all the statements. I'll comment out except this imaginary to avoid the confusion. Okay. Now here everything is comment out in this particular program. Only this is enabled. So the interpreter will consider only this. So now in com 3 plus 4 5j will be stored, and that will be printed, and we are printing the type of com variable also. Okay, for that you go and click on run, right? You can see here 3 plus 5j, and the class is, the data type is complex data type. Complex data type. Okay. So this is the way to work with integer, float, and complex data types. Okay. So pi equal to 0.314 E1 means, this is E means exponent value. Exponent value is 1. That means 10 exponent value is 1. 10 power 1. So 0.314 into 10 to the power of 1 means it is equals to 3.14 only, na? So that is another way of representing, that's all. Floating point number. So we can give the fractional part and the exponent value. Is it clear, madam? Annapurna madam. So class complex data type. So class complex means in Python we have integer data type, float data type, complex data type. It supports complex data type also. Okay. So generally these things will be useful when you are working with dimensional related things. So their real part will be there, imaginary part will be there. Okay, so for those applications, these complex data types are very useful. Okay, so Python is supporting that complex data type also. In other programming languages, manually we have to maintain real value and imaginary value. Okay, but here we have support of imaginary complex data type, so that will maintain both real and imaginary parts. Okay, so right now again, next data type is Boolean. Boolean. So Boolean. Boolean means either 0 or 1, that is true or false. True or false. Now first I'm taking one variable called C1. In that I'm storing true. When you are writing the Boolean value, the first letter should be capital, remaining letters should be small. And remember, Python is case sensitive language. Here all the statements, all the function we should write in small letters only. Okay. And here T capital, remaining letters should be small. T is capital and remaining letters should be small. True and false. So now I'm printing the C1 value. What is the C1 value? True will be printed. Then what is the C2 value? False will be printed. And what is the type of C1? It is a Boolean. And type of C2? It is also a Boolean. So now if I execute this, see here. So true, false, and the class is bool. Class is bool. So this is integer, float, complex, and Boolean. These are the data types, basic data types supported by the Python. Is it clear? Yeah. I'll discuss one by one. I'm coming. Sir, you left one data type. So that binary, all those things I'll discuss. Because to avoid the confusion, first I will finish the data types. So long is not there here. Long is not there in Python. Okay. So next is string data type. Okay. Next is string data type. Okay. Right. So here you can declare, here the important thing is you can declare single line string and multi-line string also. Okay. So these two are single line strings. So if you want to declare any string, the variable name can be anything, right? Even you can give S1 or you can give your name Raju, right? So the string should be either in single quote, two single quotes, between two single quotes, or between two double quotes. It should be either two single quotes or two double quotes. Then only it will be considered as string, right? It should be either between two single quote or two double quote. So that's the reason I am declaring one string str1 with single quotes, between single quotes. str2 I am declaring another string with double quote. Okay. So then str3 I am declaring another string that is multiple lines. Here entire string must be in the single line. Here also entire string must be, whatever you are giving, that should be in single line. But I want to declare in multiple lines. So that can also be possible in Python, but you have to use three double quotes, then write your multi-line string, then close it with three double quotes. Okay, right? Hope it is understood. Right, now I will comment previous lines, only I will enable this string part. Okay, so str1, str2. str1 is also string, but we are declaring in single quotes, with single quotes. str2 is also string, but we are declaring within double quotes. str3 is also a string, but that is a multiple line. So multiple line strings can be declared in three double quotes, started with three double quotes and again closed with three double quotes, right? Now let us execute this. See here, starting with single quote, starting with double quote, then starting with multi-line. This is multi-line string. Okay, this is multi-line string. Okay, any doubt here? Hope it is clear. This multi-line strings. So Python launched, we can say it is 1992, but by 3 codes it will go into comment. Yes, I'll show you the difference between comment and this multi-line. Right, now see here, if we don't give any variable, if we don't assign that value, that 3 double quotes, some value you have declared na, so if you don't assign that, that will be treated as multi-line comment. But here what we are doing, so str3 equal to 3 double quotes, then you are writing again closing with 3 double quotes, so then it will be considered as a variable. That means it will be considered as a string. That string will be stored in the str3. So if you don't write this, then it will be the comment. Then it will be the comment. But we are writing str3 equal to this thing, right? So if you don't write this, then it will be the comment. Now you try to execute. Now you try to execute. Then it will give error. Okay. First 2 lines will be executed, and the third line it will give the error. You can see here, starting with single quote, starting with double quote, and here you are writing print str3, but there is no name, there is no variable called str3. str3 is not defined, right? So because we have removed str3 here, but we are trying to print str3 here, right? So that is the difference. Hope it is clear. Yes, ask Kiran. It is assign a variable, then it is it's a value. Correct, madam. Deepthi Pandey. So if you don't assign to any variable, then it will be treated as comment. So Kiran, you can see that in NIMI portal there all the courses are listed. Okay, fine. So this is a right. Then this is about data types of integer, float, then string, boolean. Okay. So apart from this, in integer number we can represent in a different ways. Binary number as a binary number, as a octal number, as a hexadecimal number. Okay. So here these are the things. So now here I'm disabling everything. I'm commenting all the things. Okay. Now only this part is enabled. So here what I'm doing, I'm writing one binary number. So how can you represent this as a binary number? 0b. So it should, all the binary numbers should start with 0b. Then you write binary value. So 10 I'm writing. So 10 means nothing but if you convert it into the decimal, so that will be 2. Okay, then we are printing type of B. Of course, type will be this integer only. Okay, so then octal number, again octal number should start with 0 O. Octal, the first letter is O, so it should be 0 O. Then write your octal number. Okay, so then hexadecimal number similarly. So hexadecimal number should start with 0x, then write your hexadecimal number. Okay, so here 10 hexadecimal equivalent decimal value is 16. Okay, so let us execute now. You can see here 2 class is int, 9 class is int. And for octal hexadecimal, we are not printing the class. We are not written the type function. So it is printing only value. Okay. And if you have the doubt how to convert, I think hope everyone knows how to convert binary number to decimal, hexadecimal number to decimal, octal number to decimal, right? Okay, fine. Right? Hope it is clear. This data types. Any doubts here? Any doubts in the data types? Okay, fine. So now let us move to next topic. Herman sir, shall I continue or shall I stop? Herman sir? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Sir, shall I continue or stop?
Yeah, please continue for 10 minutes, sir.
Okay, 10 minutes. Okay, sir, fine. Okay. Everyone is seeing this slide? Okay. Right. Screen is not well. No blur image, not clear. Sir. No, sir. Okay. Okay, blur. Whether it is fine now? Yes. Okay. I'll send the PPT, don't worry. So here variables. So when you are declaring the variables, so there are some rules. There are some rules. Till now we have used A, B, C, D, some X, str1, str2. So these are the rules for declaring some variables, right? So a variable can have short name like X and Y, or more descriptive name like age, car name, total underscore volume, all these things. That means you can write a single letter, you can declare a single letter variable or multi-letter. It is like a words also, as a words also you can declare the variables. But a variable name must start with a letter or the underscore character. Okay, a variable must start, name of the variable must start with a letter or underscore character. Okay, a variable cannot start with a number. We should not start with number. Okay, a variable, so this is the condition. So first, the starting character, starting should be either letter or underscore symbol, and it should not be with number, right? A variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. Only one special character is allowed, that is underscore. A to Z or 0 to 9. Alphanumeric, alphabets are numeral values, and underscore. Only these things we have to use. Variable names are case sensitive. If you write all small letter AGE, you have to use A, you have to declare everywhere as AGE only. By writing A, capital A, G, E, and if you are referring that variable with all small letter means it will give the error. And remember, Python is case sensitive language. Okay, so these are the conditions for declaring the variables, right? So only thing is, it should start with a letter or underscore symbol. It should not start with the number, and we can use alphanumeric characters along with underscore symbol, and all the variable names are case sensitive. Okay, so these are all the conditions for declaring the variables. And if you want to see, I'll show you one example also. Let us go to our program again. So I'll open one more program. called, or the same program I'll do. So now here I'll write with some x, 0x I'm writing, or 0 ABC equal to hello. I'm declaring it as a string variable. So if I try to execute this, it will throw an error. Why? Because the variable name should not start with 0. Okay, and if you run, so you see here invalid syntax. So it is indicating here 0A. Everyone able to see? Right? And if I started this with underscore, for example, instead of that, I'll make it as underscore. Okay. So underscore 0 ABC. I think this is valid, right? You can see here. Okay, this is valid. Now it is not throwing any error. Okay, and you can print. You can print. You can print underscore 0 ABC. Right? Now if you execute here, okay, this printed hello. Okay, is it fine? Any doubt? Any doubt? Okay. Right. Right. Now let us come to our PPT again. So reserved keywords. Reserved keywords. So the variable names, these are the condition. It should not start with a number. It can start with any character and underscore, right? So, and you should not use these names as variable names. Why? Because these names are reserved for some predefined functionalities. Okay, so false, await, else, import, pass, none, break, except, in, rise, true, class, finally, is, return, and continue for lambda, try, as, def, from, non-local, while, assert, del, global, not, with, async, elif, if, or in. So these are reserved keywords in the Python. These names we should not use as it is as a variable names. Okay. So if you use the if you use these names as a variable names, it will give the error. How to display all keywords in Python? Is there any size of data types? So that's the reason. The size of the data type is, of course, the for every data type size will be there. Generally, that depends upon the platform you are using. Also, in Windows it will be different. Again, in Linux it may be different. So it is generally int is either 2 bytes or 4 bytes. Float is 4 bytes. Then strings, that depends upon characters, number of characters. The types are there. I mean, that memory allocation is there. What is that? How to display all keywords in the Python program. Okay, you want to have a program which displays the keyword of Python, huh? So that I'll try to give that program. Okay, but these are the keywords. No keywords not used as a variables. Yes, keywords we should not use the keywords as a variable names. For example, false is there. Exactly, you should not use. You can make it as small f a l s e. Yes, it is case sensitive. All are case sensitive. Python is Python programming is case sensitive programming. Yes, I'll say I can send the video. Just send your mail ID to my WhatsApp. I'll share my Google Drive link. Keywords is not clear. So keywords not clear means whether that explanation is not clear or display is not clear. Display only. Okay. Okay. Anyhow, yesterday I shared this PPT also now with you. Okay. If it is like that, sir, Erman sir. Hello. Hello. Erman sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I think actually when because I'm the host now, if I'm sharing now, so the display maybe they are getting. Shall I conduct a class from tomorrow, from at least tomorrow from my ID, my Zoom ID?
From your Zoom ID means I don't understand, sir.
Because I have separate Zoom ID. Okay.
But that cannot be integrated with here now, sir.
Okay.
You are having the host privileges only now.
Yeah. But here I'm not getting the option to share the complete screen. If I share the complete screen, so I can switch over different windows, then we don't have any problem.
That is not possible in this version, sir.
Okay, okay. In this version, I mean, if you update any like version, whether it is possible to share the entire screen.
This license to this thing has only these things.
Okay, okay. Already you purchased licenses, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. This is a purchased one, not a.
Okay, okay.
A trial of this thing.
Okay, okay. Because the most problems I'm seeing that screen is blurring. Everyone is telling. So what might be the problem, sir?
That is related to your internet, might be, sir.
No, sir. Internet is good. I'm using broadband only, 30 Mbps. Because daily I'm conducting one more session also at 7 o'clock with my personal ID, Zoom ID, to my trainees. So there we don't have these issues.
But other sessions are not having these issues, sir.
Okay, okay. So internet problem, maybe. So shall I try tomorrow from the office then?
Okay, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay. Now I think today we can we'll wind up today's session, and if you want any PPT or videos, you just send your email ID to my WhatsApp number. My WhatsApp number I'm giving here. I'm typing here 9848007337. So any doubts? Anyone is having any doubts? Geetanjali. Geetanjali, tell me. Geetanjali Das. Narendra Singh Solanki. Julie Singh. Geetanjali Das. If you have any doubts, you please ask me. Surya. So that list, whatever I have shown, those are reserved keys. Actually, I have not counted that number of key words. So those are reserved keywords. So my WhatsApp number is 9848007337. Bhuwana madam, programmers are running, but path not found. Where it is installed? Programs are running, na madam? Bhuwana madam. Bhavana. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam.
Yes, sir. सर प्रोग्राम रन हो रहे हैं बट मेरे को पाथ नहीं फाउंड हो रहा. कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट से पाथ कैसे फाइंड आउट करेंगे सर?
So where space Python you can give, madam?
सर नहीं हो रहा है.
नहीं हो रहा है क्या? कुछ एरर आ रहा है मैडम?
सर वेयर को ये बोल रहा है कि वेयर नॉट मतलब वेयर इज नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज्ड एज एन इंटरनल और एक्सटर्नल कमांड.
1 minute, I'll show you that. CMD. So are you able to see command prompt, madam?
Sir.
Where Python. So it is giving the.
Yes, sir. I also typed same as where Python, but here message is shown where is not recognized as an internal or external command.
Okay. So can you share your screen, madam?
Sir, I'm using mobile phone, but
Okay, mobile. Okay. So we will do one thing, madam. Do you have any connect in your laptop or system? Any connect or team viewer?
No, sir. मैं यहाँ पे Zoom ही कर लेती हूँ connect.
I mean, Zoom okay, but fine. Now for accessing your system after this session, so I'll access if you install any connect software in your system, so I can access your system so that I can find out where is the problem. You please install any connect software or TViewer software and give that ID to me. I'll connect with your system. Okay, na madam.